is the solution for the problem palindrome partitioning 2. It's labeled hard and rightfully so, because it involves two layers of complexity. Let's talk about the question. We're given a string and we have to partition that string into different pieces such that each partition is a palindrome substring. And this is the first condition. The second says that you have to find such a combination of these partitions such that the number of partitions needed overall in total is the minimum possible. So with these two conditions in mind, let's actually break both of them now and understand what they mean. First, why is there the condition for minimum cuts needed? Why do we need the minimum number of partitions? Let's take a look at an example. We have x, abc, ba, and then ba. In this string, how can we break apart these multiple substrings? There are two possible cases I've listed. There could be many more. There are in fact many more. In this particular case, we have splitted our x, a, bcb as a palindrome substring, which is allowed, a, b, and then a. ABA could also be sort of combined into one, but I've written it as a separate case here. Then there is the other case where we have taken x, a, b, c, b, a, because this is a palindrome in itself, then b, and then a. Okay, what are the two things that you note? First is that individual single letters are also palindromes of length 1 in themselves. That's the most trivial case. What was the second thing? The second thing is that choosing the right palindrome can be very important. Choosing ABCBA instead of A plus BCB plus A makes the entire length lesser. Similarly, in this case, I've written out A plus B plus A, but this could also be written as plus ABA. Again, what do you observe? The point is that there can be multiple possible paths, and you need to find the one which has the least amount of these plus signs, the partitions. Cool. How do you do that? There needs to be a way for you to say that, okay, I know the answer up till now. I know whatever has happened up till now, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. So let me enumerate all the possible combinations. Maybe A separated out, maybe A, B, C, B, A together as one. So we'll have two cases in such a case. And you will see, okay, what happens in the future if I put out A separately or A combined. Then you can go on and recursively enumerate whatever the solution you had. Of course, at the end, you'll look at this point again and say that of these two paths, give me length of which is the minimum. That's your solution. This is only the first part of our problem. We need to think recursively. Okay, let's break down the second layer of complexity. It says that every substring of this partition is a palindrome. Now, this is obviously something we have considered here, but how does this come into play? See, obviously you need a way to find out if a given string from start to end is a palindrome or not, which we are going to talk about also later on. But assume that you already know that. How can you combine the fact of recursion and palindromic partitions? How can you combine them into a single answer? Let's look at a more abstracted version of possible string. So there are these boxes of these segments which are palindromic partitions in themselves. As you can see, a string can have multiple such partitions, multiple such cases, multiple such decisions that you can make at any point of time. In this case, what happened? Let's say that you have already considered this portion and you want to talk about what happens from now on. Cool. At this point, we can start from here and we can either pick the one element next to it or the next to it or so on and so forth till we get to a point where we have reached a partition. This partition is palindromic in nature, and that's why we want to consider it, because it's a good idea to, instead of considering each element separately, if you can find a partition which is palindromic, that's great news for us, because that is exactly what we want here. Obviously single characters are allowed, but bigger sequences of this are very much welcome. So let's say that you have two cases, once when you stop here and once when you stop here. Now look at this. In this case, you already start from a later point on and you have another big palindromic partition present. This is good news. Although in this case, when you end early, you need to have another recursion and then another one to finally get to the very end. Again, this sort of combines the ideas we've already talked about. First, recursion to see the future. Second, palindromic partitions. Okay, let's actually implement this because it's as easy as it sounds, and it should make a lot more sense once you code this up. Okay, what do we need first? Let's get the length of this particular string. Always handy to get the length. Now let's write a recursion function. Okay, what does the recursion function need? It needs the information of where to start and where to end, right? Well, here's the thing. The recursion is always going to end at a very specific index, but the starting may not be the same. In this case, after one iteration, after one sort of function call, we are reached at this point. But in another case, we may be here. So the start is variable, but the end is not. So instead of sending end over it, let's just pass it start. Okay, when do we know that we have successfully reached the end of the array? We'll check if start is greater than equals to length. If that is the case, then return 0. If that is the case where you have from any point of start, you have reached the end and you have now crossed it, that's when you can say, okay, I'm done with this recursion. This is the base case. Okay, what does the recursion return you? At this point of time, you want the recursion to return 1 because there is one more partition, or actually you want it to return 0 and then you will store 1 because you yourself are a current partition now. So you want the returning of 0 as we've seen here, and you want 1 plus recurse of perhaps a new element. See, when you are at this point of time, you don't know where to end. So you'll iterate over all of these values here until you get a palindrome. Let's actually do that. So we want to iterate and we'll call the variable n. Now we'll have range here. And where do we start? We'll start from start plus 1. Not start because actually think about why don't we want to start from start and why we start from start plus 1. Starting from there, where do we want to go? We want to go till n plus 1. Not n, but n plus 1. I'll explain why that is very soon. Okay, when do you actually want to call this recursion function? See, we know that this will at the very end give you 0 and then 1 and then 2, 3, 4, as many as number of partitions you see. But what are the two conditions that now we need to keep in mind? First is the palindrome. First is that is the string from start to the end a palindrome or not? We'll check if is palindrome from start up till the very end. Okay, if that is the palindromic string, that's great. Go ahead and do the recursion. Else, I don't want to do it. Because why? Because I don't need it. See, we're already always talking about palindromic partitions. If it's not palindromic, I don't care. But okay. What else do we need? We need a variable count and we'll initialize it with plus infinity. And at this point of time, what do we want? We want the minimum possible of all of these guys. So this entire recursion stack would give you the answer 1, 2, and at this point, add it together 3. This one will give you 1 and then 2. Okay, so we'll do count equals to minimum of count and this guy. Cool, we're almost done. What do we need to return? The count. Okay, at the end, we want to return recurse starting from 0. And the rest will take care of itself. Let's go ahead and implement the is palindrome function as well. Okay, we are given a start and an end. We'll call it start end. Now there's one small thing that you need to take care. Is the end inclusive or non-inclusive? That's a decision you can make yourself, but let's see what I'm going to do. So we're starting off with start plus 1. At the very first iteration, it would be start comma start plus 1. And so I would actually want it to be L to R. So left inclusive but R not inclusive, or start to inclusive and end not inclusive. Cool. That should be very simple. How do you check if it's a string a palindrome or not? You'll say A to from start to end. If that is equal to A start to end, but also reversed. Cool. That should do it. Let's do a quick sanity check before I tell you one or actually two things that need to be taken care of. Cool. So this is a wrong answer. Why? See, how did you figure out the answer here? The answer which at the very end was 0. Then you came here, you added 1. Then you came here, you added 1. Came here, added 1. When you also come here, you'll also add 1. Although the number of partitions is not including that. This is already marking the start of the array. You don't need a partition at this point. So the entire answer would be -1 here. Now we can be sure to run all of the sample test cases. Cool. One last thing, let's implement LRU cache, set it to none, and we are done. Why? See, there can be multiple such cases where things are being repeated. For example, at this point of time, once we have considered both of these guys, till here, both of these are the same. If you have computed this for this guy, you can also compute it for the next guy. It's just the same thing. So LRU cache none. And let's go ahead and submit for a sanity check. By the way, the runtime and the memory are pretty sad because I'll discuss the complexity very soon. Cool. So accepted 4 seconds runtime and 17 megabytes memory. Okay, what's the runtime in terms of time and space complexities? Let's discuss that. Cool. Where do we start? This is order of 1. Is palindrome is a function of order of n, because from any start to any end, let's say the worst case from 0 all the way up till very end, you want to consider not just going this way, but also going reverse. So it's order of 2n, which is order of n. Okay, this is order of n. That is already bad news. But what now? Okay, in the recursion, we'll start from 0. That's fine. So in the stack, there is 0 now. We're also doing here for n and range of start all the way up till the very end. So for each particular starting element, we are iterating over what is all remaining after it. This is the 0 element, this is the current start, and this is all the time we'll spend, like this is all we'll iterate over. So the stack size is also order of n, but it's actually not order of n, it's order of n square. This itself is order of n, and the recursion will take order of n, total giving you n square. The time complexity is worse. See, space is fine, you have a recursion stack, order of n square. Time is even worse because you have is palindrome check, again going order of n. So this gives you total the space and time complexities as well. So yeah, this is pretty much it. It's a very interesting solution, a good problem requiring you to think in different ways, combining insights from different sample cases, viewpoints, and yeah, it's a fun problem nonetheless. So if you have any feedback, suggestions, comments, let me know. If this helped you, please also do let me know. If you have any more questions that you did not, you were not able to solve or you wanted help with, I'm more than willing to help you out in the comment section below. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.